Hi, Tim. Good afternoon.
Hey Brian,
Appreciate.
how are you?
I'm good, man. I appreciate you take the time to chat with us today. Just wanted to ask you a few questions. Your perspective with working us with us. So tell me, how has partnering with us impacted your hiring speed and overall candidate quality?
Initially, and we had spoken about this before this conference as well, but we were really having a tough time finding candidates and using the traditional methods, posting online, various, employment sites, even using outside services to try to do placements. And not only was that time consuming and we'd be generally disappointed. Sometimes we get somebody that didn't quite work out, or we had one candidate we're excited about and they decided to go in a different direction or, but it just, this happened so many times that I didn't think that there were viable solutions. So, thankfully, you guys came along. I had a discussion with you about a different model that we hadn't seen before, and that involved really allowing your team to target certain candidates, giving parameters to them as to what type of people we're looking to hire, different positions, and having you just spend, really time throughout the week and throughout the month just doing active recruiting on our behalf, targeted recruiting through platforms like LinkedIn, and looking, not just putting an ad out there and waiting for somebody to respond, or even trying to place people that are in your existing pool that may not be the right fit, but actually finding people that work for us, meaning work in the sense, that they know what we
Fit.
do because we have a very specialized practice.
Yeah, yeah. Well, maybe you could dive a little bit into that. Maybe you could share a specific success or experience, kind of highlights, what we've done.
Absolutely. So we are a disability rights and education law firm. And so we are essentially a boutique firm. We do something very specific. And there's an administrative litigation process. Not a lot of even lawyers know what we do or anything about it. When I talk to people about my practice, I do have to spend some time really explaining, how we get involved in what we do. So because it's so unique, and I don't have to get into all the details, but it's hard to find people that, first of all, have aptitude for this type of practice. We're doing a lot of very stressful situations. That it is sometimes very emotional because we're dealing with kids and families. Usually, when I get calls, families unfortunately are in crisis. Sometimes there are circumstances that involve students needing a completely different educational program, in just a few days, and we're trying to help these families make decisions. So there's an emotional component that, I'd say your average lawyer may not be prepared for. So finding the right person who's interested in even this practice, and it's very rewarding. I love it. I've been doing it for almost 25 years. It's been challenging because of the high levels of stress. You and your team were able to, first of all, I'll tell you very honestly, I didn't believe you when you said, this is the model and this is how it worked. We'll just keep sending you qualified candidates. I'm like, Brian, I love you. You're a good friend. I've known you for years, but I'm going to see if you can actually make this happen. I doubted that you could deliver on what you said, not because I felt you were blowing smoke or lying to me. I just couldn't believe that it would be that easy. I'm like, this sounds so hard. This sounds like it's going to be like so much work. How are you going to accomplish this? And within the first week, I got a very detailed list of qualified candidates. I mean, I gave parameters and I said, let's start searching here. But they searched even outside, sources that I didn't even think about. And we got so many candidates so quickly that we were able to, I mean, finally have some choices. Usually in the old days, we used to just place an ad and we're excited when somebody called and said, hey, I'm interested in your job. And now I've got 50 different people to look at, and you've already screened out 100. So
Yeah,
I'm not going through, and anybody who may have been a little flaky or may not have showed up to that interview, you've already taken care of that. You've screened all those people out already. So I'm
yeah.
only talking to viable candidates. I'm very busy. I have lots going on. I'm a parent. I have 4 kids. I'm long time married, so a lot of responsibilities, not only at the office, but at home. The last thing I want to do is to schedule myself out for an interview and somebody just doesn't show up.
Yeah.
opportunity
Yeah.
cost for me, lots of reasons for that. So that hasn't happened, not with one candidate.
Great.
So I would say within about a month, you identified enough candidates. We already were making offers within a month, within 30 days, which shocked me because this process would sometimes take 6 months, and meaning previous methods. And then, we extended I'd say about six offers. We got four acceptances, and all four people are still here. They've gone to our firm-wide retreat. Great members of the team, very qualified, very excited to have them here. And I have my time back because
That's
part
great.
part of the reason why we were recruiting people, I'd say we needed two senior attorneys because it's becoming more challenging to manage the volume of work and to give the level of attention that I want to give to each client. And so you've opened up so much opportunity for me to be a better lawyer and to help my clients much more than I was able to do before.
That's great. That's great to hear, and I appreciate that feedback. Every client is a little bit different, and every situation is a little bit different. Kind of given your experience, what advice would you give, an employer looking to hire people and working with our team? What advice would you give them?
Well, I would say, you may have some doubts that the team can deliver. I'll tell you, I can assure you that the folks that are working out of India, sometimes outsourcing seems scary, especially for people that work mostly local. We're not really an outsourced type company. We're a small law firm and I would say in California and county that serves a lot of clients, but we don't have a lot of remote folks. I mean, outside of COVID and that experience, it's just not a thing for us. So, but looking at the team has delivered consistently, I would say every week. For the most part, I get an email with updates. Everybody's responsive. They're responsive in my time zone. I don't even know what time it is there, but they're picking up the phone. I email. They get back to me relatively quickly, sometimes within minutes. If I need to have a conversation before 5 o'clock, I get a call. We have a relevant conversation. Some of the outsourcing concerns, in the past, based on my experience, have to do with language barriers, having to be able to effectively communicate with people that, English isn't their first language and they're trying really hard, but, that is not the case at all with anyone on your team. I mean, I mean, even the jokes, the back and forth, the banter, all that stuff, you have conversations with people that, they get it,
Yeah.
so
Yep.
the irony, everything else, they get it. So they've got a good command of the language, so there's no issue there. So, but as far as their dedication, support, attentiveness, I was really impressed when I sent, a job description, and the first thing I got back from, I think one of the first candidates we identified, we actually didn't hire him, but he was very qualified candidate. All the relevant questions. And I'm scratching my head going, we have such a unique law practice. How the heck did these guys in India know even
Yeah.
how to even ask these questions?
Yeah.
And so I'm
Yeah.
thinking, I mean, because I've worked with other agencies before, I'm helping to find employees and staff. It wasn't my experience that they could be that helpful. We're usually doing a lot of the heavy lifting in terms of the detail as to who we need to choose, what their qualifications would be, the kinds of questions to ask. It almost takes more time than it's worth to get the agency that we've hired, that we're paying a pretty significant premium. If they place somebody, we're doing a lot of their work for them, and I haven't had to barely lift a finger.
Yeah, well, that's great to hear. Well, certainly appreciate you and the opportunity, and very grateful for working together with you. And again, appreciate for your time today. Yeah, thank you, Tim.
Thank you.